Welcome to the Numerology and Astrology. This one is for February 21st, 2022. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 11, or you can add the 1 and the 1 together and you can get the number 2. The number 2 is the number of negative mind and critical mind. We're being asked to take a look at those things that our mind instantly denies, betrays, becomes prejudiced around, or finds fault with. I find it is easier to try to place the mind out of forms of criticism and into the places of expansion and wonder, which is the number 11. In a world where it seems finding fault has become an epidemic in our culture, we need to learn mental control over the chaotic thoughts of the left brain to find a better balance within our heart and soul, so that there can be peace within that can be carried through our eyes, hearts, and hands out into the world that so desperately needs support. Egos make others wrong. It needs to do that to feel superior and special. When we see each soul as unique, then the need to be right or to compare diminishes and hopefully goes into the ethers of our old personality that is being replaced by authenticity and kindness. The astrology today. The moon shifts out of Libra while we are asleep and moves into the intense and secretive sign of Scorpio. Expect things to get very interesting. Many hidden layers and plans are going to be revealed, much to the dismay of a distressed and strained world. While the meaning of those taking terrible actions becomes clear, they still do not justify what they are doing or how they are intending to accomplish it. Challenges lie ahead, and not the type that we necessarily want to experience. Mercury is going to test us in its interconnection to Neptune. Perceptions seem confusing and convoluted. There seems to be a haze in front of our eyes. It makes seeing things difficult and dreaming challenging. Now is not a time to make any agreements on anything. The current situation in which we may find ourselves is one that will not give us what we intended in the long run. When we find out that we have been maneuvered again into a weak position and one that defending is going to be difficult, that's when we need to stop and take a step back. Okay, my quote for today. How do we leave our ego at the door when we are afraid that our life is really a bore? We have to prance, preen, and puff out. We need to be heard, and so we shout. But yelling only makes others walk away, because dealing with egos feels like dragons to slay. And we are so tired of all the drama that exists in a world filled with too many misfits. We understand that each person has their point of view, but egos make it hard for everyone to see through to the center of their own insecurity and fear. And egos will try to snare and commandeer hearts and souls to do terrible deeds and cause pain until another concedes. I do my best to be an example of a dream, one that works with others and moves as a team. I hope that this world will exist in 100 years. I hope that all life continues with fewer tears. And my blog for today. Oppression comes in many forms. Some is inherited when we are born. That is not fair, as we are not just our genetic codes. We are free souls that will come to many crossroads, roads that have not been traveled by our ancestors of old, not even those that were totally brave and bold. Each generation is to build upon the foundations of the past. Each person inherits wisdoms, skills, and maps. Some of those may work, while others seem to fail. In truth, we are all learning like a blind person learns Braille. We have to feel the dots under our hands. We have to make sense out of them and their demands. Once we understand the new language right there, that is when we begin to climb our own stair. While paths have been built to help us learn the ropes, some are there to generate creativity and hopes. But ultimately, we will have to choose a very new way and go forward into the unknown with no delay. After all, our life is out there in the fog, and some experiences cannot be cataloged. They must be embraced regardless of the fear, and that is how we learn this complicated life to steer over the mountains and through the woods to the place where no ancestor had ever stood. Thanks, everyone.